Today we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. This is a historic day for the Treaty 7 area. The day was first introduced by the Stoney people in Morley in 1971. On this day, the elders of the Ecumenical Conference in Morley advocated for a day of prayer for Indigenous people. They did this so that we could honor and remember our heritage, our people, and our stories. There is continuing struggle for missing and murdered women. There is continuing struggle for those who feel the effects of residential school. There is continuing struggle for those who grew up in a system of need, in a system of want, who are struggling today to find work, struggling today to find a place in Canadian society. We hope that in some small part, we can do our best to reach out to those community members, to those in need, to help and to be of service as a church body looking to do good in the world. Let us remember that we have gifts to give and that we can share in a future that brings us all together.
Oda gina bekta, odan gina.
From this historic site along the Bow River, the Stonies worshipped along with the Methodist missionaries, and this mission evolved into the United Church. And we've had a history that's been one of experience of good and not so good things. So I think I can share that the residential school was a thing that was very hard on our people. Today we're part of the reconciliation movement. And when I say that, the church was not aware of things like the treaties. Today we pay homage to the land acknowledgement, and we acknowledge we're in Treaty 7 territory, of which my family signed the treaties in 1877. We were witness to the apology in 1986 by the United Church. We've seen the 2008 apology by the Harper government and the residential school settlement. Since that time, it's been very dynamic. A lot of changes in attitude in society that have taken place. This includes the release of the Truth and Reconciliation Report, and also the acceptance of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People in 2016 by the United Church of Canada.
There are many ways to live out your reconciliation story. You can write your Member of Parliament about the action plan for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls that has been delayed. You can help someone write out their day school application. You can read the Caretaker's Report and the calls of the church. You can learn more about your treaty in your area. You can invite your community of faith to record their stories of Indigenous outreach, and you can read the TRC calls to action. You can create a heart garden. You can have a watch party on an Indigenous issue and join in a conversation on Zoom. There are also ways to inform yourself to do the work of reconciliation, to reach out to your local friendship center or Indigenous church, to assist with a food drive, or children's clothing, or school supplies.
There's a lot of history to remember. There's a lot of work that the church has done, and there's a lot of reconciliation work we need to do. We are witness to an area that had a residential school. I myself am a day school survivor, and I wanted to share that even though the history and the abuse has been hard to take and understand, we're working through reconciliation. And by apologizing, the church has said they're ready to work with Indigenous people. And by the country apologizing in 2008, there are opportunities to come together between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. I would say that our calls to action reside inside the Truth and Reconciliation Report and also the articles of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. So these form the framework for all denominations of churches to move forward and to work and to remember the history of the Indigenous people. And I hope you will dialogue and begin relationships that are positive with Indigenous people in your area. Learn the history, learn the language, and learn how to relate to one another.
Wakanejin oagi hangtas. Wakanejin oagi hangtas. Wakanejin oagi hangtas. Wapaksasingtas. Wapaksasingtas. Wakanejin nimbi iahnet. Wakanejin nimbi iahnet. Wakanejin nimbi iahnet. Mahpiyakta, mahpiyakta. Mahpiyakta odang ginabit. Mahpiyakta odang ginabit. Mahpiyakta odang ginabit. Etsyah na nimbi, etsyah na nimbi.